Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to our show. If this is where we review one of the top racing cars from around the United States, we will select the 4 race seekers from that track and attempt to come to a consensus on a Pick4 ticket. Thank you for joining us as we continue on the Kentucky Derby Trail and head down to the Bayou. Laissez-les bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll at the Fairgrounds in New Orleans. The historic track has a 12-race card that includes 6 stakes races. The late Pick4 starts in race number 9 and ends in race number 12. They are all stakes in the Pick4 on Saturday. My name is Rich Sharp, and tonight I'll be joined by my friends and racing analysts. First up, our East Coast handicapper, and he's coming to you from his home by way of Staten Island, New York. Ray Torado, you know what? Is it ever going to warm up out there on the East Coast for you?
Well, today it did. I mean, last few days it's been 40 and 50, so that's definitely spring weather, and hopefully, well, the groundhog didn't see a shadow, so I'm hoping we'll have a early spring, and it's warming up slowly, but we're getting there.
There you go. All right. Well, you know what? And up next is our West Coast handicapper, and he's coming at you from his home in Temecula, California. Joe English, is it ever going to stop raining in California?
Ice. Yeah, I'm sure probably sometime in June I'll be complaining it's 105 degrees and wishing it would rain. So, yeah, I'm sure it will. At least I hope so.
All right. You know, our show is based around the Pick4 each week, but I haven't asked either of you any kind of trivia questions or any kind of horse racing related questions. So I did have one. I'm going to stay, Joe. I'm going to stay on you right now. So a quick question for the both of you, though. Do you have a favorite Kentucky Derby prep race? And that's an indication of what we're going to be looking at tonight. But a favorite Kentucky Derby prep race that does not have the word Derby in the name?
Yep. This one's easy. Breeders' Cup Juvenile. It doesn't have Derby in the name.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I know it's a grade 1, but it is sort of a prep for the Kentucky Derby. So I'll take the easy answer, right?
Me? Oh, boy. Well, you guys already said it. I guess I go with the Wood Memorial. I mean, it's a 9 furlong race at Aqueduct, and it's usually the last race before the Derby, and any horse that wins that usually has a good chance at the Derby. And although I'm very sad, it's been downgraded to grade 2, but I don't know why.
I agree with you.
I don't know why.
The Wood Memorial would have a good chance at the Derby. The last time it happened was like, what, Monarchos or something?
Sure, whatever. It's still, it's
Been a while.
But actually, you know what? I do like the Remsen race. The Remsen always, for me, 9 furlongs in November, December, 2-year-old. And I always like that race. It shows you that they can get the distance. So
I'm sorry, Ray. I don't mean to make fun of you as I drink out of my New York, my Starbucks cup with the New York skyline.
Where's that the Empire State Building?
There's a bunch. Yeah, there's a few. But the Empire State Building is the most.
Yeah, actually, you see what Naira did? They got the new triple tiara and stuff after the Derby.
I saw. Well, they're all turf races, aren't they?
Yeah.
So basically, get ready for a lot of Chad Brown.
Well, I want to see a horse win 6 races like that, Triple Crown and the other one. That'll be something.
Oh, if you could win all 6, Ray, you would never get him to run in more than any 3. There's no way. Never. Unless Oscar Barrera comes back to life and starts claiming horses, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, but it's in a schedule every month, once a month the races.
But it's never.
Bob Baffert would try it, okay? Bob Baffert would try it.
No, he won't. No, he won't.
All 6 at one horse. I'm telling you, he would.
Not. Didn't we talk about Baffert on the turf last week?
Is that crazy?
We talked about this last week.
He's that crazy to try.
All right. I'm gonna let's bring us back to focus here.
Hey, we need to have a little fun once in a while, though.
Absolutely, a little freestyle there, let that, and just to make sure that I get one in myself and things like that, and just to be a little bit contrarian like that. I'm going to throw in from Gulfstream Park, which is my new favorite park. I'm going to throw in the Holy Bull, which also does not have the Derby in there. So we'll make sure we get that one in there. Moving along into the next part of our show here, we are going to take a look at what we did last week. And last week, if you do follow along with us, we did play Santa Anita. And if you watched our live show last week, you know that it was the Grade 2 San Marcos. I watched the show. I rewatched it. So we did have an extended discussion on that one. We did go 3 deep ourselves. Personally speaking, I went 7 deep on my individual ticket. And we all came up empty as Platinum Warrior sprung the upset at 17-1. And that key, actually an $850 Pick4 ticket. So let's take a quick look here. And we are looking at the weather. Excuse me. We've got the weather here. And you've got a few showers early with overcast skies later in the day. Sorry to say that for those who are in Southern California looking to get away from that weather. High of 74 degrees, the winds of about 5 to 10 miles an hour. And yeah, there's a chance of rain at about 30%. There are a total of 12 races, 6 stakes on tap for Saturday. And for today, we are focused on the Pick4 that begins in race number 9 and concludes in race number 12. Gentlemen, the gates are locked and loaded. The outriders are clear, and the starter is ready to pop the gate. It's Pick4 post time.
Let's go.
Race number 9, approximate post time is 5:25 p.m. Eastern time. You've got a $200,000 guaranteed Pick4, a mile and a 16th. It is the Mineshaft Handicap, a grade 3. Purse is $150,000 for 4-year-olds and upward. 13 starters, and your tepid morning line favorite starts from post number 5. Lone Sailor, trained by Tom Amos and ridden by James Graham. 7-2 on the Fairgrounds morning line. It's named for the fine competitor Mineshaft. He's now a promising stallion standing at Lane's End Farm. The race was originally called the Whirlaway Handicap, and that was to honor the great Whirlaway. Joe, you're hitting leadoff. Be scrappy. Maybe look at a few pitches. And if need be, take one for the team, but get us on base for the Pick4 tonight. Who do you like in the Mineshaft?
Is the infield shift on? Because then I'm bunting. Sorry.
Can you tell that? Can you tell baseball season's right around the corner?
Just get it. Yeah, absolutely. Just getting started. Just so that everybody's aware. I know there are 13 starters listed, but there are 2 that are not supposed to run. Imperative, from my understanding, and according to social media, has scratched, as well as the 13-horse Quip, according to trader Rudolph Brissett. He is also not going to run tomorrow. So we have a field of 11. And this race was, it's funny. It's a grade 3, and what I've been trying to do is I've been trying to find horses who've had success at that level in the past. And I'm trying to do more of an economical ticket. And, well, it's funny, Rich, you hit it right on the head. I liked Harlan Punch last time out when he ran. And what was funny is that Cox had another runner in the race that Giroux was supposed to ride. But that horse scratched, and Giroux ended up on Harlan Punch, which obviously wasn't a big problem. Horse didn't go off as favorite in a 5-horse field. The reason I liked him is because he had won a grade 3 prior to last time out. He won the Island in June of 2018 at Monmouth by 5.5, and he had also won the Stymie in New York a while back. While it's not a graded race, it was still a $150,000 race, and he won by 7. I just thought he was coming up to a good race. Ever since Cox got him, he's only had him for 2 starts. Second at Remington Park in December, and then a good speedy effort last time out at this track over this oval. This is his 3rd start off the layoff. He has numbers in his past that give him a right to improve. He's a 6-year-old gelding. He's not going to the breeding shed, obviously. That last race was his first race at Fairgrounds, first win at Fairgrounds, and I just think he's got enough speed that he can stay with. I think Flame Away is really the other early speed. I think Flame Away, being that he's coming off layoff, is going to be sharp early, and I think Harlan Punch has enough speed to stay with him, and he's got the fitness edge over him. He also, like I said, he also has some backlots from a grade 3 win and the win in the Stymie. So I'm going to stick with the 2 Harlan Punch, 4-1 on the morning line. He's going to break from the rail now that the scratch of Imperative. or now with the scratch of imperative. So he would be my top choice. And I only went 2 deep in the other choice. Unfortunately, in this race, I decided to go with the 2 favorites. Lone Sailor, he's another one coming off a layoff. And I'm not always as keen with closers that are coming off layoffs because I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. Usually, speed horses are more keen when they come off the layoff because they haven't run in a while. Closers, I really don't know necessarily what to do with them. But obviously, won the Oklahoma Derby, which is a Grade 3 in an 11-horse field. He did not run that poorly behind Accelerate in the Breeders' Cup Classic. I mean, he was 90-1 that day. Beat about half the field, finished 6th, 5.5 lengths back. Had a little bit of trouble at the beginning of the race. And Tom Amos and James Branham have been a good combination at the meet at the Fairgrounds meet. And he's coming off a bullet drill on the 9th of February. So he's got a little bit of class. And like I said, in situations like this, I'm trying to find the class animals. So I went with the 2 favorites. And like I said, that's not going to be a theme tonight. I'll just put it out there right now. It's a little bit of a tease. But my top 2 choices in the Mind Chapter are the 2 Harlan Punch and the 5 Lone Sailor. Ray, give me something good.
Well, I got your horses in opposite order and a few more. Yeah, I do like Lone Sailor. Gets a little class relief there. As you can see in his lines, he got good magic. He raced in the Derby, Preakness, facing Justify, and he won the Ohio Derby. Fairgrounds, he's pretty good. 2 seconds. Louisiana Derby finished 2nd last year. Breeders' Cup Classic, he showed some life. Yeah, he did run 6 by 5. That's not too bad. Beat some good horses there. So that field is a stellar field, and to beat half the field, 91, it's not too bad. Comes out the pace, so. But I think if the pace is slow, he might be close to a slow pace, so he can benefit off of that. We know how fast Flameway and the other horses might go, so we'll just find out. James Graham knows Fairgrounds. Tom Amos 27%, so there's a good combination, and that'll be my top choice. I do also like Harlan Punch, like I said. Lifetime is 10 wins, 9 seconds, 36 starts. It's 19 out of 36 in exacta. He's a speed type. Also, he'll be up there. Casey draws from the rail. And, he moves up off the fairground prep race. And distance stats are pretty good. I like the distance stats. 11 starts, 3 wins, 3 seconds at the distance. So, and, he's formerly from David Jacobson. I remember I was laughing one time with an office mate saying that he ran in the Excelsior off a 7-day layoff. So like we were joking like he can run like every week. So he's a war horse, and Giroux and Brad Cox are a good combination, like over 25%. So Harlan Punch should be the up there top of the stretch, and have a good run. I do like Flame Away, the speed. This is his 4-year-old debut. He was 2nd in the Bluegrass, 2nd in Jim Danny, so has some class there also. Like you said, Joe, looking for these class horses. These Grade 3s, you can track a lot of horses. You can track claimers, you can track low-level allowance horses. So that's a good idea. We tend to stick with the class, and the horses may be dropping down or run well here. He might be a good middle distance horse, and this is his distance, round 16th. He's got the speed. I don't think he wants to go any further than that. He tried and unsuccessfully, last year. So I could see him a mile 16th at most. The Tyler Gaffron gets bored. Mark Cassie, and that's a combination. He's coming up for layoff too. So he's racing over 5 months, but he'll be sharp, and he might. You never know if the track is a little speedy. He might be able to hang on a little longer. So I do have a little long shot here, number 6, 3rd day. He's shipping in from Gulfstream. He's been running claimers. He ran a good last race. Brian Lynch, Jose Ortiz. I gotta include him. Jose can, he made this horse run last time pretty well. So you never know. He could step up in this old 3 BG angle, and he could surprise at 20-1. So I like the price. So I'll go 5-2-9-6. Rich.
Yeah, we've all been handicapping together for a really long time. I've got absolutely nothing to offer you any differently other than the fact that I did not include the favorite in this race. Ironically enough, I'm not using the 5 Lone Sailor. I did use the 2 as my top pick, so I've got Harlan Punch as my very, very top pick. I love the Brad Pox Florin Giroux angle. I'd like to ask my partners out here, how is it possible that these two have hooked up 52 times together and they are only hitting it 12% together? For those of you who like to watch this angle and who like to watch the jockey trainer angle, I would sit there and tell you to go ahead and start playing the Brad Cox Florin Giroux angle from this point out, because they are not a 12% angle, especially not down in the Fairgrounds area and things like that. They are probably a 29 to 30% on the year angle. And you know how that works out. They're going to have to start hitting. But as far as this particular horse was concerned, not looking at the human connections, the horse has moved around quite a bit, has had 5 tries there at Fairgrounds, does have a win, at least at the Fairgrounds, and does have 3 wins at the distance, 3 seconds at the distance, and a show placing. So 7 for 11, not bad at this distance. And what I do like to see is familiarity with the Fairgrounds track, which can be a bit of a tricky track. You've got Florin Giroux, who is one of the best riders in the country, but in particular, one of the best riders down there in the Bayou, and Brad Cox, who's one of their top trainers. And all of his numbers here at this particular level, as you see here, he looks fantastic at this level. The horse is moving up a bit in class, but it certainly looks like it shouldn't be anything that's going to cause any problems. Got tactical speed, and I would imagine Giroux is going to be able to sit a trip there from that inside post. And this was my top pick. You see the check mark there. So I've got the 2 as my top pick. I did not want to leave out Flame Away. I think Tyler Gaffleone, one of the best gate riders in the country. You've got Mark Cassie as the trainer. Those 2 together in Florida, when they hit together, again, you see they're 23%. This horse comes out of horses like races like the Kentucky Derby, the Ohio Derby, the Jim Dandy, the Smarty Jones. Has had a layoff and has been off for 5 months. But again, it's Mark Cassie, so I'm not going to hold that against the horse. So I just used the 2 and the 9. If I am going to use a third play, ironically enough, I'm still not going to use the favorite. I'm still not going to go with Lone Sailor here, and I'm going to use the third horse that Ray used. Again, that old 3 broke guys angle with Brian Lynch and Jose Ortiz hooking up together. I love that combination. I love the fact that Jose Ortiz is here today, and he's choosing to ride this horse. And the fact that the horse has been sharp as of late, won that last race down there at Gulfstream Park in an 8-horse field. So I just went 2-9. If I was going to go underneath like we used to do, I would actually have the 6 underneath. Ray went 5-2-9-6. And I believe that, Joe, you went the 2 and the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, Rich, can I expand on your question about Cox and Giroux?
Absolutely.
Okay. Just so that the one thing I've noticed, I've been able to look at a lot of the Fairgrounds charts and stuff, and what I've noticed is that obviously you see, if you look at Cox, his percentage even for the year is kind of low, 21%. And what happens some of the time is that he will do a Baffert or whatever Pletcher. He'll run 2 or 3 in a race, and he'll use guys like Sean Bridgmahan. He'll use Miguel Mena. He'll use other jockeys as well. And it just means that he may be winning the same number of races. He's just winning them not necessarily all with Giroux. He's winning them with Bridgmahan and other jockeys like that. So that may be why that combination may be done. It's not, like I said, it's not like Cox he still has 29 wins, but even 21% for him is kind of low.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
He's winning with other jockeys beside Florin Giroux. He wins. Mm-hmm. I know earlier in the meet he won a lot of races with Sean Bridgmahan. So there's
absolutely, and the only point that I was making is for those of us who play the percentages, I was saying, just keep your eyes on this combination, because we all know by the end of the year, or by the end of the season, or however it is, this number will be in the mid-20s, mm-hmm. which means that Cox and Giroux are due for a little bit of a run themselves,
like 10 in a row.
Yeah.
Let's not go there.
All right. I am
Good
back,
parlay.
and we are going to move along to race number 10. And race number 10 there at the Fairgrounds. They're going a mile and an eighth on the turf. And this is the Fairgrounds Handicap. It's a grade 3. The purse is $150,000 for 4-year-olds and upward. There's 11 starters, and the morning line favorite is in post number 9. It's Synchrony, trained by Michael Stidham and ridden by Joe Brazo, 3-1 on the Fairgrounds morning line. As early as 1838, Bernard de Marini, Julius Branch, and Henry Augustine Taylor organized races at the Louisiana Racecourse, laid out on Gentilly Road, making it the second oldest site of horse racing in America, still in operation, after Freehold Raceway and before the Saratoga Racecourse. Ray, I sometimes smile when I hear baseball or football fans brag about how long their respective sports have been in business. You know, with all due respect, many are talking about races that I was going to say, with all due respect, how many are talking about races that happened before the Civil War?
Oh man.
Yeah, who do you like?
I got a quick story to tell you.
Go for it.
This guy from
Civil
Queens,
War?
this guy Mike from Queens, he works with me. He's a temp. He was saying he showed me an article the other day about the Union race course that they used to bring horses from the south to race against the north, and they had the races. And I would only assume that Union race course they moved it to Aqueduct, and that's how it started. But that was very funny. How the you have the Civil War, but you also had horses go from the south to race against the best against the north, kind of like a Breeders' Cup in the country. It was pretty funny. In Union Race Course, and Joe says it was on Woodhaven Boulevard too, around there. So it was like very funny. But I guess they moved that one to Aqueduct, and that's how Aqueduct begins.
That,
So
yeah, that is funny.
that's a long time ago.
No kidding.
Anyways, this race, it's kind of wide open.
This was a killer. Yeah.
You know, one show this year, I'm going to surprise you and just pick everybody in the second leg because that's been my nemesis. I'm going to plan my tickets. I'm going to just say, I bet everybody, and the next. But this race, I went 3 deep, and I could have gone all, but don't have enough money. I do like big changes. I'm making a change here. Big changes. Looks like to me a winning machine. I mean, he's 24 starts. He's got 10 wins, 7 seconds. So he's like 17 out of 24 in exacta. That's pretty good for me lifetime. So he works hard. He runs hard. He brought another Brad Cox horse there with Giroux. So there's the combination again. He's his last 8 races, he's won 6 of them and come in second twice. So he's pretty much on a roll. We stepped up a little bit in class here, but he's got the speed to stay close to make a first run. And again, Giroux, Cox, they're running, and this could be a big day for them. I do like number 7, Combatant. This horse is making his 4-year-old debut. He lacks speed, but I'm taking a chance here. The speed might be good here. I think Asmussen here is looking for answers with this horse. He doesn't know what to do with this horse. He's been on the dirt, on the turf. He's 1 for 14. He looks like a plotter. 7 in the money out of 14 races, but he just hasn't gotten that winning habit. 1 for 14, like I said. Well, they're gonna try here. I mean, he closed well in the Masters Mile on the turf, so I guess they'll try turf for now. And he made the Derby by getting some placing points. He was 71 in that race, so he ran decent on the dirt. So he got a little talent there. But I don't know, maybe with maturity in the 4-year-old, they're just looking for answers here. And Asmussen says, let's try turf. 8-1, and he got Jose Ortiz. So I definitely go for that price. I do like also number 8, Marketov, Manuel Franco, Michael Maker. He stays in the same class, cuts back a distance. He's been running longer. So he could be running hard at the end here on a shorter distance. And he's 21 races, only got 2 wins. So he's looking for a couple wins here. He's, hasn't won. They take off the blinkers, which might help him. Second race off a layoff, which might help him. He's only 1 length behind Johnny Bear in the Canadian Grade 1 Northern Dancer. So, to finish 1 length behind that horse, that was a good race. So, but he's got ways to go. He has to get this distance, mile and 8. So he's coming back here. He's 12-1. I'm gonna stay away from the favorite, Synchrony. I'm taking a shot here. Try and hit something here. So I'm just gonna go 5, 7, 8. Joe, what do you think the Mineshaft, the Fairgrounds handicap? Sorry.
I want to say one thing first though, because Ray, I'm not trying to make light of your pick, but I'm going to. I was fortunately I had formulator stats and I was looking at you mentioned Combatant and the Steve Asmussen Jose Ortiz combination. And I just 2 stats that I'm going to give you. It's basically the same stat but over 2 different time periods. Could you believe that jockey trainer combination is 1 for 25 over the past year?
Really? Wow.
And on top of that, over the past 2 years, 3 for 51. Now, I mean,
it fits the horse. He's 1 for 14.
I'm not saying. I get it. Exactly.
And also, all for 3. Yeah.
Some mojo or something's going on, and I'm like, I wasn't going to pick the horse regardless. That stat just blew my mind, and I had to bring it up. Whether you pick the horse or not, I was like, just those 2 guys, and that combination. There's just
that's unbelievable, Joe.
No, I know. When I saw it, I was because I was looking. I was like, you know what? They don't really meet up that much, and I looked at. I was like, holy crap! That's amazing for those Eclipse Award-winning jockey, Eclipse Award-winning trainer. When they get together, there's just some I don't know, something's wrong. So if there's a combination, Rich, we were talking about Giroux and Cox before. If there's a combination that could, obviously has to improve. It
Absolutely,
can't But anyway, it was just a statistic that I wanted to bring up on the show. Regardless, again, just to tell you that sometimes those things run really good, and they run really good for a long time, like Baffert and Mike Smith, and sometimes they just run the opposite way. It's
you
funny.
Need to ride Rachel. You need to ride Rachel.
If he could ride her in this race, you might win.
Yeah.
But it's funny, I'm with you on Synchrony. I'm kind of. I know he's coming off the bench. I know he's 3 for 3 from Fairgrounds, but he's going to take a lot of money. There are horses in here who can do the job. I'm with you, Ray. I like big changes for a lot of the same reasons you mentioned. Cox and Giroux's obviously ridden this horse before, won on them 3 times and finished second at Fairgrounds 2 starts back. It's funny. I almost kind of think that sometimes you run even in the Sunshine Million and it's a restricted race at Gulfstream. I almost kind of wonder if that's not really a little bit of a drop in class to run in this grade 3. I mean, only because the turf races at Gulfstream are so difficult, and even races just for Florida breds. He's obviously beaten some good horses, but he was 4 to 5 that day, and he won obviously pretty easy. Castellano was up that day, but like I said, you mentioned the Cox Giroux angle. And he has speed, and his form is outstanding. You can't knock what he's done over the last 8 starts, just like you mentioned. So he'd be my top choice. My other 2 picks, like you, I only went 3 deep, and ironically, I was thinking the same thing when Rich was talking about the San Marcos, and I was like, I had my 2 fingers up. I was like, that was leg 2 of that pick 4, by the way. So I was like, okay, maybe we should just handicap races 1, 3, and 4, skip leg 2, save time. But the other 2 horses I like, the horse I like second best is right outside big changes, and that's the I think it's number 6. First Premio, but now Ray, isn't Premio Spanish for first?
Yeah, first.
So basically the name is first. But again, looking at the formulator stats, I was looking at this horse. He obviously ran a bang-up race to win by open lengths, beating a couple others in here, including Great Wide Open in the Bradley in the prep race for this. And I thought to myself, okay, he was off for about 8 months. I said, let me look back at Cassie's statistics. And unfortunately, I mean, Cassie's statistics in this case are good, but I got to temper it. He's 7 for 25 with a 3.66 ROI. Over 5 years on turf graded stakes, second off the layoff that won their debut off the layoff, won first time out. Part of my problem I have to temper my enthusiasm because some of those horses were Tepin and World Approval, and it wouldn't have made any difference what Cassie does. I think it's like Phil Jackson with Michael Jordan. You just roll the balls out there, and they're going to win. So, again, I got to temper my enthusiasm, but still, I like the way the horse ran. I like the way he won. Brian Hernandez stays aboard. Cassie's obviously hot at the meet, 24%. So the horse's form is good. I think the step up is not that big a deal. He's run in graded stakes before. 2 starts at the Fairgrounds, 1 win, 1 second. And he's going to be, he's 4-1. I thought he would actually be a bigger price than that. And he might slip through the cracks, figuring with Synchrony and, like Ray was talking about, the Asmussen Ortiz combination might take some money. So I think this horse, I hope he drifts up from 4-1 on the money line, but I have to use him. And the other horse I'm going to use is a horse. It's funny you mentioned Johnny Bear, Ray. The horse on the rail, Tis a Slam, is my other choice. He's obviously coming off a layoff, last seen at Woodbine in October. But if you look back, you mentioned the Northern Dancer where Johnny Bear beat Marketoff and he only got beat by a length. In that race, Tis a Slam was only 2 lengths back, and he actually beat Johnny Bear in the Nijinsky in July. He's got speed. He's going to be tactically placed. He drew the rail. If Great Wide Open really has to go and needs the lead, Tis a Slam can just sit right off him. And I think this is a 1 1/8 race. And obviously, the 1 1/8 distance I don't see it being an issue, even though he's only tried it once. The only concern I really have is that this, for him, might be a prep for longer races. Obviously, he's done a lot of running the 1 3/8 and a 1.5 miles. But if I'm going to get 8-1 on a horse with on the rail who has speed, who can control a lot of the pace, like I said, if for whatever reason Great Wide Open doesn't get off to a good start, Tis a Slam will be in front. And a 1 1/8 is a walk in the park, considering what he's been running. And he's won 6 times, 3 wins on the turf, $727,000 earner. So I'll take that combination as well. And I'll take Corey Lannery. Obviously, 29 wins. He's going pretty well at the meet. So for me, the top choices in order are the 5 big changes, the 6 First Premio, and the 1 Tis a Slam. And Rich, unless you're picking Synchrony, he's going right to the winner's circle.
That's, you know what, and I went deep on this race because I did have trouble, and I've heard all the horses I believe that I liked except for 2. So my top pick is the 6. So Joe, you and I, at least we've got some similarity in there. I did think first redundant horse was probably the ticket that was going to get this one done. Brian Hernandez, Mark Cassie, nice little percentage there for just 2 races. But a good recent posting, a couple races at Churchill Downs, over at Woodbine, and then at Fairgrounds for the win. So it has a win here over the local course. And again, has looked the part of a winner. So I didn't want to go too much into that one. I have the 6. Let's see. I have the 9, which is Synchrony. I didn't really want to go into that one. I've got the 10, Great Wide Open, is also on my ticket. So I'm going to go with my long shot horse here, and I'll spend a little time showing on this one, which is Bandua. I do not know a whole lot about Jack Sisterson, but he does have a nice little flashy win percentage there. Adam Bishiza is one of the local jocks there for the Fairgrounds, and he does have a decent win percentage. The horse came over from Europe. They put him right into the Grade 1 Secretariat. So we handicapped this horse back in August when we did the Grade 1 as part of 3 Broke Guys handicapping. And he finished a decent 3rd. Came right back at Kentucky Downs, which we all know is a very tricky course, right? About the same kind of a trip here in a 10-horse field. And then didn't do so much at the Canadian International there at Woodbine. That was going 1.5 miles. Again, another grade 1. So, in theory, kind of taking a step back or a step down here. So I put the 11 in there as well. And I went 6, 11, 10, 9. And Joe, I believe I have the 1 on my ticket as well. Looking at the very end of mine. So I went 5 deep in this particular race. I initially thought I had a single later on, but I don't. I've got 6, 11, 10, 9, 1. I believe Ray has 5, 7. And if I'm not mistaken, Joe had 5, 6, 1 in there.
And Rich, just so that you're aware, I just looked him up on. I knew he was Jack Sisterson was an assistant for a famous trainer. That trainer is Doug O'Neill.
Oh, I've heard of him.
No, I had 5, 7, 8.
He's I think he's won the Derby a couple times.
I think, yeah, I think I might even have a few photos with him. All right, let me come on back. Jack Sisterson, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Those assistants can be tough, man. I tell you.
Yeah, I'm all the way back.
Chat bound.
It's funny because they think about coaching trees in the NFL. How about training trees? How about Lucas's tree? You think that's pretty good?
Yeah.
I was going to say, with as much time as you and I have spent around Del Mar and Santa Anita, I wouldn't help wonder if we've met Jack Sisterson at some point in time.
Fletcher tree under Lucas, and absolutely Frankel's tree, Chad Brown.
Yep.
So.
All right, on we go to race number 11, and this one is going 1 1/16 on the main track. It is the Rachel Alexandra Stakes. Grade 2 purse is $200,000 for filly 3-year-olds only. 10 starters, and the morning line favorite is in post number 10. That's, well, actually, that was the favorite until she got scratched. That was chasing yesterday. It was going to be trained by Bob Baffert. I have to defer to my colleagues here to see if they can get it. Let's see. If I get emotional, if I talk about the 2009 Horse of the Year for too long, well, when Rachel Alexandra won the 2009 Preakness Stakes, that was the second leg of the Triple Crown. She became the first filly to win the race in 85 years. She won races in 6 states on 8 different tracks against fillies and Grade 1 colts and older horses. You guys, before anyone had heard the name Zenyatta, Rachel Alexandra was our queen. She still is. All right, Joe, I got through that without getting all emotional. And now it's your turn. Who do you like in the Rachel Alexandria? And even though we're in New Orleans, well, you know what? Nobody's watching since, again, Bob Baffert's horses are scratched out of the race today.
Well, it's funny you talked about Zenyatta, and boy, I think probably before, just not long before we started the show, that was the huge debate. Who would win, Rachel Alexandra or Zenyatta? Who was better, Rachel Alexandra or Zenyatta? Obviously, they never raced against each other, so we never got to answer that question. But anyway, that was one of the debates. And I think, see, Rich, I hesitate to say who the morning line favorite is. The favorite, with the scratch of chasing yesterday, the favorite I think is the 5, Positive Spirit, who was 5-1 on the morning line. But obviously that morning line would need to be adjusted because Positive Spirit is obviously not going to go off at 5-1.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me, so I mean, I would guess Positive Spirit's going to be closer to maybe 3-1, 5-2, somewhere in that nature when the first betting starts. But she's my choice. Obviously winning the 1 1/8 Demoiselle by 10.5 is pretty impressive. I understand why you would want to take the horse out of training and give the horse a little bit of a winter off, take a break. But after a win, when the horse wins like that, that shows a lot of potential. Again, it was just a huge win. Rudolph Brissett he's a better trainer. Obviously, 15% for the year. He's 0 for 13 at the Fairgrounds meet so far. But obviously, Manny Franco thought enough that this is part of the reason he's at the Fairgrounds for the race, racing tomorrow. He's decided to come along for the ride. again, it's really hard to look past that 10.5 length win in a race like this. She drew well. She's going to be forwardly placed. She doesn't even have to go 1 mile and an eighth. My biggest concern about singling her, because I came close to doing that, is that just like the Risen Star later, you have to realize these races are still prep races. While they have prestige, and yes, they want to win. Owners and trainers, owners especially, want to win just about all costs. If the ultimate goal is the Oaks or the Derby, you have to wonder how cranked up they're going to be for a race like this. She's obviously shipped to 4 different tracks in the country. Obviously, Saratoga, Keeneland, Churchill, and Aqueduct. This will be number 5 at the Fairgrounds. But again, I think just that race was just so huge. And I think, if she repeats that effort tomorrow, I think she wins. But again, I can't single because it's and again, the races tomorrow have Derby and Oaks points, and I believe this race has 50 Oaks points. But again, I don't necessarily think she has to win, and maybe Ray would know. I'm not sure if the Demoiselle had any Oaks points attached to it. If it did, it was obviously very minor. But I mean, it's still only February, and the Oaks is still the first Friday in May, or depending on if it's April. But I just think she's going to win. I think she's better than these, so I obviously have to make her my top choice. But again, I couldn't single. And the other horse I'm using, I only went too deep. I'm using the number 8, and I know what this means. Eris 2 means you are, obviously, and that's the Spanish for the English version of you are. Obviously, horse ran a really nice race in the Silver Bullet Day not that long ago. Again, I don't think I'm not sure if there were any Oaks points. Maybe next time we'll make sure we check that, or I should have checked that beforehand. But she obviously, tried her hardest, could not get by neat supervision last time out. I think this race, there's a little bit more speed in this race. I think this horse is going to get a better trip. And this combination I know does well. This Asmussen Santana, yeah, they do well. And it's, Fairgrounds, Oaklawn, Timbuktu, Union, Racetrack, wherever it was in 1838, this combination would still do well. So I just think this horse is going to get better and better. Asmussen obviously does a great job with 3-year-olds, fillies. It doesn't matter. But again, because Santana's aboard and it's not Jose Ortiz, this is the anti-Jose Ortiz angle. So I'm going with the combination that I know will work better for whatever reason. So again, real difficult race, but I think Positive Spirit's better than these. So I went with the 4 on top, but couldn't single. So I went 4-8 in the Rachel Alexandra. And to be fair, Rachel would have killed this field. She'd have been 1 to 70,000 in this race. So, Ray, on that note, take it away. What do you think of this field in the Rachel Alexandra?
Yeah, I think I just looked it up. I think that Desmond had 10 points. So
okay,
yeah, something. But
sure.
Yeah, the leader right now is Bellafino, 32. So
yeah,
she's 2-5.
so early.
And she would have killed this field too.
Maybe.
My top choice here is number 3, Serengeti Empress. She had a decent race. She's actually 3 out of 5 lifetime. She's had wins of 13 at 7 furlongs and 19 at a mile and 16. So when she runs tremendously, and she won by 5 also, her 3 wins. So forgiveness for me in the British Cup Juvenile. She was in the race early, and then she packed it in. A little time off after that. Comes back off the layoff. This may not be the goal, but still, she she should be formidable here. She's been working out good, and with a little conditioning, a little maturity here. 3 months she had off. She gets stronger. So she's my top take. I'm taking a chance here to she has speed, and that she could control the field. I do like number 4, Positive Spirit. The last win was pretty good. It doesn't wrong. She won by 10. Freshened off of that, but that was a big race. And Don't look at the time because they run on sand over there in the winter time. That frozen dirt just really tightens up, and times are very slow in Aqueduct. But it was a good race. She blew them out, and she could only get better. She's 2 out of 4 in the money. She had good workouts and pacing, and definitely she's ready for this. Man, Franco's aboard. Another horse I want to mention was number 6, Oxy Lady, Calumet Farm, homebred. There's that trainer again, Jack Sissiston. He's here. And, she drops back company. She raced in grade 1 Starlet. Not a bad race. Fourth by 2 3/4 at 5-1 against Chasing yesterday and Mother. So, she was in good company that day at Los Alaminos. She did win the Tempted at Aqueduct, grade 3 by 5 at 36-1. So, they found out who she was that day. Adam Bichizis having a good meet, 16%. So 6-1, this could be a good good price for this horse out of Oxbow, AP Indy Mare. So this horse could win all day. As the distance gets better, I think she's gonna get better. So that's a good breeding for distances. So watch out for this horse down the road in the longer races. So I'm gonna go 3-4-6 on my ticket, and Rachel Alexander. Rich. Oh, we lost Rich there. Huh?
No, you did not lose me.
Oh, hey,
Here,
okay.
I am here tracking along with you here.
Okay.
Making sure that I've got the same picks. This is going to be a tough race for the handicap, though. I do have the 4 in mind, but my top pick is down here. I went with Beware the Undefeated Horse, and I've got Bell's the 1. I'm using a closer here in this race. 3 for 3 so far. Has moved right up through all the levels at 6 furlongs. Moves up in class from last start. So a little bit of that 3 broke guys angle, and using 4 in Giroux there. I've also got the 9. I went around there as 2. I've got Need Supervision, 3 for 4 lifetime, and this is Jeremiah O'Dwyer. He's using Joe Rocco, and again has won the last 3 in a row, second in the opening race, and then right through their classes, and has moved around a little bit. Has gone from Penn to Laurel to Churchill Downs to Fairgrounds, and so that was my second choice. And then I kind of chickened out because the Bob Baffert horse got scratched, because this was going to be my single down here. And I went back to what I believe will, probably be the favorite, which is Positive Spirit. So I've got the 4 on there as well. So I've got the 7, the 9, and the 4, with the 7 as my top pick. I've got Ray. Ray, you've got the 3, the 4, and the 6. And Joe, I believe you let off there with the 4 and the 8.
We're learning all this Spanish. I might as well talk Spanish.
Caballo. Oh, yeah. I got one for you. No pierde. No pierde. Can't lose.
Boricua.
No, I heard some really decent words with Aqueduct, man. Tell you, after a race.
Ray, those are etched in my memory.
No.
Go away.
All right, here we go. We are on to the finale. This is race number 12. They're going 1 1/16 on the main track. This is the Risen Star Stakes, presented by Lamarck Ford. Grade 2 purse is $400,000 for 3-year-olds. And quite possibly, more importantly, there are 50 Kentucky Derby points on the line tomorrow. 15 starters. Yeah, 15 starters. It's like 3 races on a rainy day out west. And your morning line favorite starts from post number 14. That's War of Will, trained by Mark Casse and ridden by Tyler Gaffleone. 5-2 on the Fairgrounds morning line. In 1988, all the talk was about a filly who shook up the world by taking the first leg of the Triple Crown. Winning Colors became only the 3rd filly to ever win the Kentucky Derby, but the unsung hero of 1988 may well have been Risen Star, who came back to win both the Preakness and Belmont Stakes. He was actually named 1988's 3-year-old Colt of the Year. Let's see, a couple of interesting tidbits about Risen Star. He was the first third-generation Eclipse Award winner in the same category. Guys, his sire was Secretariat, and his grandsire was Bold Ruler. And 10% of Risen Star's winnings were donated to the Little Sisters of the Poor, which is a Roman Catholic order of nuns. Joe, that's about the best I could do. Take us home in the finale at the Fairgrounds.
I believe this is Ray's.
Oh, Ray, excuse me.
Choice.
Oh, yeah.
Go for it, dude.
Risen Star, yeah, I remember that horse.
Yeah.
I'm old. I remember after the Belmont, we said, dang, he could win the Triple Crown. He's that Derby is just a little short.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's one of the prep races. This is how we get started here. The 3-year-olds, right? It's gonna be tough to beat Wolf Will, but I'm gonna try to. And my top choice here is number 10, Limonite. I want to take a chance here. It's coming off a layoff. He ran a good third, gaining third in the Kentucky Juvenile Cup, November. I know it's a sloppy track, so he might have a finish for sloppy track, but he's every race he runs, he just runs hard at the end. That's what I like in these distance races. He runs hard in the end. His late pace figures are faster than the early figures, and I need to close a little bit, but he can. He was actually close in the optional claiming race, probably a little slower pace. So he's kind of versatile to me. He runs hard at the end, and he's gonna get better. I kind of know he's coming off a layoff, and you know what? This may not be the goal here, but he's gonna run and see what happens. He's been working out good. Asperson definitely wants to try and get him to the Derby for Winchell, and they're trying to get as many points as possible. So this could be a good chance for him. It's gonna be tough to beat Wolf Will. I know. I don't see 5-2 in his odds. Once the betting starts, I don't see it at all. I know Paul's 14, but once he clears that hurdle, he's gonna be tough to beat. He's had 2 great races. His last 2, broke his maiden very impressively. He won the Lecomte off the layoff, so he's getting a little stronger there. He stakes placed as a maiden in a couple of turf races there, so he's also good in turf. Mark Cassie, second race off the layoff, so he's going. Tyler Gaffalione, one of the top jockeys here, so he's going to be tough. So I'll take a shot at him with Limonite, but I'm also going to have Wolf Will on my ticket, so I'll be short 10-14 for me, and hopefully I'm still alive after leg 2. And let's see how it goes. Joe, anybody else in the Risen Star?
Ray, hopefully we're all still alive after leg 2.
Yes, that's right, all of us.
I'm not worried about me personally necessarily, but I only really wanted to go second so I could compose myself after Rich brought up one of the most painful memories ever in that 1988 Kentucky Derby.
Oh,
having if I remember right, a 21-year-old kid having about $50 on 49er, and
yes, hello. Very painful.
If I remember, that was a very painful memory. Risen Star obviously got off to a bad start in that day. He ran third, but we just thought that Pat Day just was patient Pat for too long that day. Waited too long to get to winning colors. So I'm trying to compose myself after.
Yeah, that's
trying to bring up that memory. Thank you, Rich. Appreciate it.
Sorry.
You had no idea. It's okay. It's not your fault.
No, it hurt.
I was looking at War of Will as well, and you're talking about him and his breed. It was like his breeding. I understand why they started him on turf. He's out of Warfront, who's out of Danzig, turf, and he's out of Sadler's Wells mare. Well, if that doesn't scream turf, nothing does, really. I mean, that's why I understand why they started him on turf. But obviously, maybe he's this generation's cigar. Who knew? I mean, you never know. Obviously, he's only run 2 races on dirt. If he gets to 16 wins in a row, then maybe I guess we can talk. He's going to be on my ticket, and the reason he's going to be on my ticket, he's not going to be my top choice. He's going to be on my ticket because the way he ran last time out, He had an outside. He didn't have an outside post, but he was basically in the 3-path just about the whole way around. And he dusted this field. He made them look. He made a lot of these horses look really ordinary. So he's got to be on your ticket, because even if he okay, so he's 3 wide, maybe he's 4 wide. The way he dominated that race, if he runs that race again, he's going to be, like you said, he's going to be tough to beat. But like you said, I'm going to try and beat him as well. Like I said, he'll be on my ticket. But I went with 2 other horses as my top choices. My top choice is actually number 3, Mr. Money. And the reason I'm going with Mr. Money is that the Breeders' Cup Juvenile has turned out to be a key race. Again, thank you, DRF Formulator, for allowing me to go back into the charts and see what happened and what horses came out of this late race and what they did. Signal Man came out of this race. He was the 3rd place winner. He came out of this race, and he won the Kentucky Jockey Club that Ray mentioned later that month at Churchill Downs. So he was obviously a grade 2 winner coming out of that race. The horse who ran 5th is Gunmetal Gray. Gunmetal Gray, I think if I remember right, I think it was the Lewis that he won last time, beating Bob Baffert's highly regarded, not so much anymore, Coliseum. So he won that race as his first start out of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And then the 7th place horse was Mind Control. Mind Control just happened to go on to win the Jerome Handicap. Well, actually, it's not a handicap anymore. The Jerome Stakes at Aqueduct earlier this year. Is it the Jerome was? Oh, no, you know what? It is earlier this year. I think it's like the first week in January, maybe the 2nd week in January.
Who's news there, I think.
So out of that race, there have been, again, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th place finishers have come out to win. Mr. Money ran 4th in that race. He was close up. He was only a length and 3/4 back after 6 furlongs. So obviously he has some ability. And it's funny because there's another horse who hasn't run yet out of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and that's Game Winner. So if Mr. Money wins, this could be even a bigger key race for Game Winner. Not that Game Winner needs any, backing at the window. He's going to be a sure price no matter where he runs anyway. But I'm going to take the chance that Breeders' Cup Juvenile was a very key race. And I think he's the only horse that's coming out of that race that's running in this race. So I will take Mr. Money. Gabriel Saez stays aboard. Calhoun wins races at Fairgrounds fairly regularly. He's got a bullet work in the holster. So I'm going to take him at 12-1. I like the price. Again, like you said, Ray, part of the issue is that these races are all prep races, and you got to wonder how much they're cranked. But being that this is a 50-point race, and that Calhoun is kind of a local trainer down there, I think he kind of wants to win this race. So I'm going to go with Mr. Money as my top pick. Second choice is going to be the horse on the rail. Plus, I know I'm butchering this name because they pronounce it differently down there. Plus K Parfait. He ran in the Lecomte behind War of Will, but again, that was his return after the Kentucky Jockey Club. He drew an outside post, started slowly, got bumped, and he was behind War at Will most of that race. And if you look, he only finished 2.5 lengths behind the horses that finished behind War of Will. I'm going to make an assumption he's going to get a much better trip from down inside. He's not going to be wide if he gets out and doesn't get bumped. Le Peru stays aboard. Brendan Walsh obviously is very capable. So I'll take 10-1 on a horse who's getting a much better draw. Has a recent race underneath his belt, and instead of being 4-1 like he was last time against War of Will, Morning Line says he's 10-1, and if he's 10-1, I'll take that price every day. So my top choices: the 3, Mr. Money. My other 2 choices are the 1 Plus K Parfait and the 14 War of Will. In the Risen Star, Rich.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have much to add for you guys on this one then, because you've already heard about the 14 ad nauseum. We don't have to talk about War of Will anymore. Like that, I thought for certain that my 12-1 shot here, and this one would be my chance to talk. And Joe kind of stole some of my thunder there. I am actually, you see the check mark there. I'm on Mr. Money. Brett Calhoun and Gabrielle Saenz. I'm not sure if that's any kind of a combination that I need to worry about. They're 0-for-6 together so far this year. But so far, the horse had a couple of rough starts down there at Ellis Park, and then did win that maiden special race. And they were so confident off that they did hike him up to the Breeders' Cup. And as you heard Joe allude to there, that Breeders' Cup juvenile race was loaded so far. So I did put my check mark there on Mr. Money. I backed it up with the favorite because I kind of chickened out there. So I've got 314 on that line. I believe, Ray, you had 1014. And Joe, did you go 3-1-14?
I did, sir.
All right, there we go. So I knew I had that.
I like the 3 now.
Yeah. I like the 1.
I was leaning on him, but it's
it's funny, like I said, thanks to DRF Formulator, to be able to go back in the charts and see what the horses did in their next races. I mean, I remember Mind Control winning the Jerome, and I remember Gunmetal Gray, but I forgot about Signalman. But obviously, he's in the PPs in this race because he was Plus K Parfait ran second in that same race that Signalman won. So obviously that race is lit, and again, Game Winner is going to be a short price when he runs again. So it's possible if Mr. Money wins, there could be 5 horses that came out of that race to win.
All right. I will come back to you for one last time, and we will go ahead and compile our final ticket so you guys can see how the sausage gets made, so to speak, over here. And share my screen with you.
What's going on in racing? The NHC was last week. A 34-year-old from Illinois won $800,000. Happy Valentine's Day to all the wives out there. Wives, girlfriends, and what's the other crushes that we have at the track?
Yeah.
It's funny. I saw somebody on Twitter ask, "Who is your racetrack Valentine?" And obviously, I had to tweet my response.
I'm saying nothing on the air.
I didn't say anything either, Rich. I just said I tweeted my response. You want to go find my Twitter feed? Go for it. Hey, I mentioned Beholder in the conversation, so let's put it that way.
Okay, there we go. Then I'm safe.
That's the safest part of the tweet. Yes.
Oh, that NHC. How much does it do you get to bet like per race? Is it?
It's just $2 win in place.
Oh, $2 one place. Okay.
But it's like 15 races on Friday and 15 races on Saturday.
Okay.
And then on Sunday, like the top 10% come back, and then after a certain point, they whittle it down to a final table of 10, and then it's they sort of make it kind of like a poker tournament in a way.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, it's funny because they're already advertising NHC qualifiers for tomorrow, and I'm like, I wish I had the money. Love to try and qualify.
I should do that. I go to a track and just do that. $2 win players. It'll save me a lot of money. Oh God.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting how you do it. Every time you go,
You let me know how that works out, Ray.
How much would you be mad because you'd be not winning as much as you should?
I was gonna say, man.
You'd be mad more. When you win, you'd be madder. When you lost, you'd be okay. I'm only losing $4 a race. That's no.
Right? Yeah.
It's when you win that you'd be pissed, which is really against. It goes against everything we stand for.
Right.
Not pissed.
Time the bets by 10. Okay, 20 win place. Then you go broke.
Right.
All right. Let's walk through this here, and I'll walk you through our pick 4. You guys let me know if keep me honest here. And for those of you who have seen this before, if you haven't seen this before, the top line is the green numbers, and that is our consensus ticket. That's our group pick 4 ticket. The red numbers represent Ray's pick 4 ticket. The black numbers represent Joe's ticket, and the blue numbers represent my ticket. In that first leg, we've got the 5, the 2, and the 9. And I believe, the 5 is Ray's top pick. You also had some consensus there with Joe. And the 2 was my top pick as well as Joe's top pick. And Ray, you and I were both able to match up to 9 as well. So that's why we've got 3 on that top line. In leg number 2, again, the 5 is Ray's top pick. That's also Joe's top pick. The 6 is my top pick. And let's see. The 1, Joe and Rich. Oh, that's Joe and me. We both matched up that horse as well. Let's see here in leg number 3. This one's kind of funny if you watch this. So we've got the 3, Joe or Ray. That's your top pick, and we've got the 4, and that's Joe and my top pick. And then the 6, the 7, the 8, and the 9 appear on all 3 of our tickets, but there's no consensus. And then in the final leg there, you've got the 10, and Ray, that's your top pick. The 3, Joe, that's your pick, and that's my top pick as well. And the 14, who is also the favorite. And so that gives us a $27 Pick4. A little tidy Pick4 here for the Fairgrounds tomorrow. But you can also see what our individual tickets look like.
Let me repeat that, Rich. It's 259 with all, with 34. With...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Correction. All.
That's just that all button should be there.
You know, I gotta tell you, it sucks losing the leg 2. It sucks because you lose the pick 3, you lose the first pick 3, you lose the last pick 3. You just go frustrated.
So, and again, if you guys are wondering what's going on there,
The only hope is the late double.
What Ray and
last week we had good 6-1, 8-1 horses in the late double. But
I don't know why we're complaining. Go back and watch all of our shows. It's every week. It's Team who is the one that kills us. We're trying.
We've been together now for about 4 years, and we figured out that we've got one leg to get by. It's leg number 2.
Yeah.
And the only thing that seems to work is the all button.
Yeah.
You know, we need to talk about rebranding. And I want leg 2 to be part of it. Okay, I'm telling you, I want that to be part of the new name.
All right. So, for those of you watching, if you enjoyed our show, well, we're going to be back. I believe we're going to be back next week. We're enjoying this, and it's what we really enjoy. And I have to tell you that I miss hanging out with Joe and Ray on Friday nights. I really do enjoy handicapping every week with the 2 of you. I'm not sure where we're going to be just yet.
Yeah, it depends on the card. Yeah.
No. I mean, we obviously haven't looked at it lately, so no.
But we will, and I promise you, it'll be one of the top racing cars from around America. All right, gentlemen, that's all the time we have for tonight. It's always a pleasure to handicap with the 2 of you.
Likewise.
Yes, it is. Likewise.
I can make it safe to say it's probably going to be Gulfstream.
I'd like it to be Gulfstream.
Yeah, most likely Gulfstream. Yeah.
For Joe English and Ray Tirado, my name is Rich Sharp. Thank you for watching 3 Broke Guys Handicapping, and good luck and good night.